Ransomware is a financially motivated cybercrime, which is becoming common and sophisticated with easily available tools and malicious programs offered by ransomware as a service. In this video, I will discuss the infographic developed and recently published by New Zealand's Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT, showing the life cycle of a ransomware incident and critical controls which you can use to plan and help stop a ransomware attack with a defense in-depth approach. Hi, my name is Reed Kaur. Welcome to Sekaurity, where we will together explore information security and leadership concepts using simple ways that anyone can understand. There are many ransomware attacking groups that use different tools, techniques, and processes, commonly referred to as TTPs. New Zealand's CERT division recently analyzed past ransomware attacks and identified many commonalities which can help strategize on how to detect, prevent, and respond to these attacks. They broke end-to-end ransomware intrusion lifecycle into three main phases. The first phase consists of initial access, in which an attacker is looking for ways to get into target network. Second phase consists of consolidation and preparation, in which the attacker tries to gain access to as many systems as possible in the target's environment. And the third and final stage involves impact on target through stealing or encrypting data or doing both, as we have seen in some of the recent attacks. Ransomware attacks may involve use of different TTPs, but the goal of each attack remains the same. That is, to gain financially or get access to highly sensitive or regulated information about your employees and customers and then sell it online. Let's start diving more into each phase, starting from right of infographic to left, that is going from impact and then running it backwards to how it all begins. In the impact phase, the attacker's goal is to impact the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your data in three ways. Number one, through data exfiltration. Hackers nowadays are using a double extortion method. They not only encrypt your highly sensitive data, but also steal it and then threaten to leak it publicly if you fail to pay the ransom. So even if you have thoroughly tested backups, you still have to protect your data from getting into the wrong hands. University of California recently fell victim to this extortion and had to pay $1.4 million. Number two, by destroying backups. As per Kaspersky, an antivirus company, 71% of ransomware victims were not able to restore from their backups, as these backups were also stored on the same network and attackers either encrypted them or deleted them during the attack. Number three, by encrypting all the files which they are able to find on local machines and the network before demanding ransom to restore access to the data. Recently, one of the largest insurance companies, CNA Financial, had to pay $40 million in ransom, which is the highest reported payment so far. Critical controls which can help protect against these impacts are: firstly, make sure you have thoroughly and regularly tested backups with at least one copy sitting offline and air-gapped from your network so that the attackers cannot even get access to it, and it helps you recover. Then, implement application allow listing or application whitelisting. These are programs which are allowed to run in your network. Companies should also proactively monitor the logs to detect programs which are blocked and why. Lastly, turn on logging and alerting. Make sure that your logs from all systems, network sensors, IDS, IPS, EDR, and DLP agents are all stored at a central location. And also they get monitored with automated alerts and protected from unauthorized access and modification, and are also retained according to your company's retention policy. Second phase of ransomware attack, as per New Zealand's CERT visual, consists of consolidation and preparation, in which once the attackers have access to one of your systems or are able to get into your network, then they try to gain access to all systems through moving laterally into your network while doing reconnaissance and gathering credential or privileged access information and gaining access to other computers in the network. Once the wider access to the systems is gained, then they try to escalate their privileges by trying to compromise the credentials through either brute force attacks or social engineering techniques, or by exploiting vulnerabilities to gain privileged access. After exploiting and persisting in the victim's environment for some time, attackers' next goal is to control and send commands to the infected machine where their malicious code is running. For this, typically the compromised host beacons out to a publicly hosted server running software to send back to attackers command and control messages to malicious code running on victim's machine. Upon successful connection to command and control server, the attacker has what we call hands-on keyboard access inside the target organization. The hackers can also use living off the land binaries, commonly referred to as LOL bins, which are non-malicious binaries that cybercriminals have discovered on a system they got access to hide their malicious activity within a system and evade cyber defenses. We will cover the concept of LOL bins in upcoming videos. The critical controls which can protect against these TDPs in consolidation and prep phase are: first, implement network segmentation. The intent of this control is for organizations to segment their network into smaller and manageable networks based on security risk. Access controls are used to separate out access between these smaller networks and are restricted to only the ones which have the required access. This is done so that if ransomware or any malware has impacted one subnet, it stays confined in there instead of spreading to the rest of your network. Second, control access by applying principle of least privilege. That is, you should grant role-based access on a need-to-know basis and also review it on a regular cadence to avoid access control creep. If an employee is working in finance, they should not have access to HR systems if they used to work there before and no longer need that access. Thirdly, turn on logging and alerting, which was earlier covered in the video. And then last but not the least, set up application allow listing, which was also covered earlier. Now let's focus on the first phase, consisting of initial access, in which an attacker is looking for ways to get into your network by potentially getting access to valid credentials through phishing or password guessing, or by exploiting an open vulnerability in your people, processes, or technology to get access to an internet exposed service, or by sending an email to your users with a malicious document or a malware attachment with the hope that the user may open the attachment, which can infect their system with this malware. In the first phase, where the attacker is looking to infiltrate into your network, you may implement the following controls to thwart their goals. First, secure your internet exposed services. This is to ensure your organization has a good understanding of what systems and services are remotely accessible and has the appropriate controls and processes in place to keep them secure. Make sure that the unused ports and services are disabled, logging is enabled, and systems have the latest patches. Number 2, by patching your environment. This should be done regularly to keep all software in your environment up to date by patching at a regular cadence and within defined SLAs to reduce the vulnerabilities in your environment. Number 3, make sure you implement multi-factor authentication, which is a control to have additional protection in addition to your password to verify your identity when authenticating to business critical systems such as administrative or internet-facing services, and when carrying out any sensitive requests such as payment and data updates. Number 4, disable macros by default. Do not allow the macros to run unless and until the certain users have been given access to run the macros or executables which can be trusted. Number 5. Implementing Password Manager to auto-generate long and unique passwords while enforcing MFA on the tool for added protection. This is because weak or reused passwords remain a common cause of security incidents. If your staff isn't using strong and unique passwords on all systems, it might be because they don't have the right tools or policies in place. A password manager is one of the few tools that can help your teams create unique passwords easily. Then, there are a couple of controls which we already covered earlier in the video, such as application whitelisting, logging, and alerting. Because of its complexity due to variance in TTPs, no single tool or control can prevent a ransomware attack on its own. You will need to take a layered approach or defense in depth application of critical security controls to have a strong defense against potential ransomware attack before it encrypts your data. So looking at the whole infographic again, the individual elements in each phase are contained in circles marked with yellow outline, and the relationship between these elements and across the 3 phases are shown by red color lines. Now that we know the TTPs being used and the goals of an attacker, we can develop security controls to beat them in their own game. Even when you have implemented these layered security controls, things can still get through the cracks due to the constantly changing threat landscape and changing business environment. So make sure you have a ready and tested incident response plan, because no matter how well you prepare, having a step-by-step plan will help you to take the control of the situation if the worst were to happen. This will help reduce the impact on your business as well. Hope this video covering the infographic developed by CERT New Zealand was helpful, and it helps you to plan and help stop a ransomware attack with a defense in-depth approach. Thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any comments and feedback for us. See you next time.